Hello, just popping in real quick to tell you about my podcast, Unruly Fashion, brought to you by the Podpire Network. I'm your host, Noella Eze. From the title of the podcast, you can tell that it's unruly. It's not going to be a regular fashion podcast. It's not conventional. It's not normal. It's not what you expect to see, but it's going to be quite the experience. Where can you find it? Well, come hang out with us every Wednesday, wherever you find your podcast. It's going to be great. I can tell you that for free. I mean, that's where all the cool kids are. So unless you're trying to tell me you're not cool, then damn, I don't know what to tell you, son. Yeah, show up. I expect to see you there. Come along. See you later.
The following podcast is a production of the Podpire Network. Find and listen to our podcasts at thepodpirenetwork.com or wherever you enjoy your podcast. The Podpire Network, a family of inspired podcasts.
Hey, Sibel, how are you?
Hey, buddy boy. I'm good. Although, congratulations on finding the one topic that absolutely infuriates me in every single way.
Well, you know what?
Single way.
I'm glad you're leaning into it from the start in this way.
Oh my God.
Because yes, that's right. I guess I should warn our listeners. This one is not going to be a, hilariously funny story. If anything, it is more a cautionary tale of epic proportions. It's not your typical harebrained schemes episode. There is a harebrained scheme behind it all, but the effects were completely devastating. So just a bit of a warning there. But yes, this is Harebrained Schemes, the podcast where Sibel and myself, Bibi, talk about the most, hello there. We talk about some of the most ill-conceived ventures in all of history. And this definitely was an ill-conceived, ill-advised, ill-intended. What other things can I slap ill in front of? Because apparently everything about this was ill except for the person perpetuating the thing, right?
Yeah, played. Well played.
Yeah.
Played, yeah.
So, yep.
It's abhorrent. It's unkind. It's inhumane. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
Infuriating.
Just get a thesaurus and just look up all the words that signify negativity. This is that. So, get ready, guys. But yes, we are talking on this episode about Belle Gibson. Yes, you heard and read that right. Belle Gibson. And
it's not Mel Gibson.
Right.
It's Belle Gibson, and it's somehow worse.
It's somehow
That's right.
worse.
It's somehow worse. You heard Mel Gibson, and you went, oh no. And I'm here to tell you, it's worse.
It's Belle with a B.
It's Belle with a B, and it's somehow worse than the M.
Yeah. So,
oh God,
that may be the only joke we're able to make on this entire episode, Sibel, because everything else just goes pretty dark.
Oh no, there are going to be more jokes because otherwise I will curse.
I mean, I'm going to struggle to find the humor in this one, but if you can find it, go for it, man. But yes, we are talking about Belle Gibson. And as always, we will start at the best place to start, which is the Wikipedia. So she was born October 8, 1991, and she's an Australian convicted scammer and pseudoscience advocate. And she's the author of the Whole Pantry mobile app and its later companion cookbook, right? So let's just start here, Sibel. And, I'm going to try really hard to make sure that we're as succinct as possible on this podcast, on this episode. But honestly, I just find it really difficult to skate right past this one because I have a deep-seated problem with so-called wellness gurus, especially the ones preying on the treatment side of wellness. So you have, wellness gurus in general who say, oh, I'm so healthy because I do ABC, right? We can talk about your wellness influencers. We can talk about those with, podcasts. Joe Rogan. We can talk about, we can talk about a bunch of people, right?
We can talk about a bunch of Joe Rogan does dabble on the side of treatment. Here, look, here's the issue.
Right.
The issue is that wellness culture, which is a $3 billion industry, preys on people's lack of scientific knowledge.
Right.
Which there's no reason the average person really should have. Because it's really complex stuff.
And abstract, right? Unless you're going through something, right? Yeah.
Right.
So
it's complex stuff.
Right.
So they step in and then they start saying that these things will fix these things. And then they start commenting on stuff that they have no business commenting on.
Right.
And on top of it, they start getting in the way of public health policy.
That's right.
And treatment.
That's right. That's right. And this
people start to die.
And this person checks all of those boxes, right? This person we're talking about today checks all of those boxes. So I have such a deep-seated sort of...
And this is personal, man. This is personal for us. This is personal for me. Because she went for the big C. She went for cancer. And I'm a tumor survivor.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And we both know people who've died of cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is personal. This is personal. This is personal. And this pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to take all your self-control to stay, on topic for this one and just not start throwing furniture and stuff. But yes, like Sibel was saying, we both know people who have passed away from cancer. I lost my mom to cancer. So there's just everything about this just infuriates me. And we just had to do an episode on this one, right? If you look at the wellness industry, right, especially the ones that delve into the treatment side of it, which is, forego conventional medicine, orthodox medicine, right? Traditional medicine, go for, these alternatives, right? And I'm not saying everything natural is automatically, ineffective. That's not it. I'm just saying that at the very least, we should stop giving credence to people who we're smarter than. And in a lot of cases so let's talk about this lady, Belle Gibson, right? I almost called her Mel Gibson, but Belle Gibson, right? Let's talk about her. She had
Gibson.
That's right. She has a year 10 education in Australia?
Yeah, she didn't finish high school.
She didn't finish high school, but you're taking your health advice from her? Let's talk about
You're deciding. So
let's talk about another famous one, right? Since we're there, let's go there, right? And I feel like this lady and her thing, her enterprise, they're begging for their own separate, Harebrained Schemes episode. I just feel like we're holding off on that because something needs to come to a head for people to recognize that this is not good. And when that thing happens, we will do an episode, right? And unfortunately, my saying something needs to come to a head means people are going to get hurt. And when that happens, we will do an episode because then maybe more people will listen. But, let's talk about, what's her name? The Goop lady. We were literally just talking about her and now I've forgotten her name again.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow, right? Let's talk about that,
it was
right?
Her cousin who was married to what's his face, Adam Newman.
Adam Newman, right? Yeah. So I mean, you
when
take
he believed that 5G would damage.
Yeah. So I mean,
look. Here's the thing: they always comment on stuff they have no business commenting on. Like, for example, even Annabelle Gibson was commenting on anti-vaccine rhetoric. right? Anti-vaccine stuff is killing people. We know this. We've seen this happen in this pandemic, but we've seen it happen everywhere. We're seeing measles pop up again. Polio has not been eradicated from the world, right? Like these are real things, man. Like this is killing people. This is killing people. People don't realize this even about basic things. Do you know that the flu kills infants every year? Do you know that? Do you know that the flu will kill a child every year? And all you have to do is get your flu shot. Like it's just that it's like it's 10 minutes of your time.
Yeah.
Is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to really get into the reasoning behind some of these things. But what I will say, and then we'll go on a break because I'm already getting worked up just talking about this, and I'm sure you are too. But what I will say is, like Sibel said,
haven't spent enough time in. I think too many people have not spent time truly vulnerable in like hospitals with cancer patients. You don't know what it's like to be without an immune system. You don't know what it's like to have to depend on society around you to have taken the steps necessary to keep you safe, because your body is not able to do that for you. The whole point of a society is to take care of each other.
Right.
And when we don't do that, we fail as a society.
Right. And no, that's right. And I was just going to say, that for the people who fall prey to this stuff, right? My heart really goes out to them, because, it's tough, right? And if you look at the angle that this lady Belle Gibson used, she went for cancer. And cancer is one of those things. Sibel and I were talking before we hit record today that cancer is one of those things that even normally analytical, normally rational
logical people,
when they're going through the treatment for cancer, which is a brutal regimen, which is, a lot of people say the treatment actually is, the cancer itself is not as horrible as the treatment, right? For a lot of people, because going through it is the radiation therapy, it is brutal, right? And I think I've
only done the radiation, and that was rough. I never did chemo. Chemo seemed.
Right. Chemo. And so, the way that treatment is administered makes people more susceptible to desperation, right?
Of course.
And so if someone is going through that, they're more likely to be open to try other things, anything, just to get away from this horrible regimen that they're being put through. Yeah. And I believe that this lady realized that, right? And she knew that there would be a willing audience for the nonsense she was peddling, right? And beyond that, right, it gets even more deplorable because she then befriends a child who's actually going through brain cancer, so that she can take notes from that child and then use those notes to bolster her story about having brain cancer, right? So there's a lot to get into in this episode, guys. Again, we did warn you it's not going to be a hilarious one this week, but let's go pay some bills, and we will be back. Don't go nowhere. Okay, and we are back, and Sibel and I are still as what's the appropriate word to describe how we're feeling right now is frustrated, yes, just heartbroken on so many levels. And
I think it brings up a lot of memories too. Because you remember that desperation. You know what it's like. You know what it's like to be like, yeah, we're desperate, but we also have to remember that every bit of snake oil that's being sold isn't, you can't go after it. Because I remember when I was going through treatment, the number of like links and things people were sending me were insane, man. I remember, it was some relative, bless them, but they literally sent me something where they were like, hey, you should go to like South America and go through this ritual and they will cure your cancer. And I looked into it. It was just like a week getting high on ayahuasca.
Right.
And I was like, I don't think this will do what you think it will.
Right. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
Thanks, though. Thanks for thinking of me, though.
My thing.
We got a lot of those. When my mom was going through her thing. There was everyone had a cancer plug, right? Everyone had but yeah, okay. So it says Gibson was born in Tasmania in Australia. And according to her, she left her family when she was 12 to live with a classmate and later lived with a family friend. So it says she went to high school in Queensland and dropped out in year 10. Although she later claimed to have been homeschooled, there is no evidence of that. So she kind of, worked for some time as a trainee for a catering supply company. And again, I'm just reading out her bona fides because I want you to really, really think about what part of this lady's history makes her the wellness. Qualified. Right. What part of her history makes her the wellness influencer that she later became. Okay. So, she worked as a trainee for a catering supply company, and then she was involved in some skateboarding culture, and participated in the online community of skateboarders in Western Australia. And then she moved to Melbourne in 2009 and became a mother a year after at the age of 18. And then she launched the Whole Pantry mobile app in August 2013 at the age of 21. So, this is where she really begins to blow up, right? This app gets so much attention, right? It is instantly backed by Apple. Yes, the same Apple. They do a deal with her to have it pre-installed on the upcoming Apple watches that they were going to launch. They even had it pre-installed on iPads at some point. Right. It was so big. And it was this app that, was promoting clean eating and a positive mindset toward wellness and all that stuff, which honestly, on its face, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it's not.
No.
At this point, I'm not mad at her. Right. You have entrepreneurial flair. You put an app together. It's doing well. You go big on Apple. They want to have it pre-installed. You're doing great. You're doing great, especially considering the fact that you have a year 10 education, right?
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact that most people who go on to college and more don't come anywhere near to this level of success. So you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. At this point, yay, Belle Gibson. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well done.
Well done. Single mom. Whatever, you have a kid at 18, you're crushing it, okay, great. Now, why do you have to go spoil that? Right? Because then she starts to complement this by becoming a wellness blogger, right? So, okay, app is doing great. She gets, approached by Lantern Books, which is a subsidiary of Penguin Books, the same Penguin Books that have been around for forever, right? Yeah.
Like
so
ever.
Right. So Penguin Books, they Lantern Books, they want to do an accompanying cookbook to the app. They do that. It is great. It sells over $1 million, right? Again, brilliant stuff. Now,
Well
apparently that was not enough for her, because what Belle Gibson then does is she starts to put on her online profiles and on her blogs about how she has several types of cancer and how it is through the healthy eating that she is managing, maintaining, and treating those cancers. So it is not enough. So it is not enough that your app and your book are doing great. It is not enough that you're getting this acclaim that you have the sign on by Apple. I mean, do you know how huge that is to have your app co-signed by Apple to the point where they want to have it pre-installed on every purchased iPad and Apple Watch? Are you kidding? So, yep, she has all this going for her, but she's like, what's going to really push it over the edge is let's do this guerrilla marketing, and let's say this wellness eating thing is curing me of cancer, and not just one type of cancer, but several types of cancer, right?
So like straight up,
yeah,
I've got metastasized cancer in multiple parts of my body, and I'm curing it by eating the right stuff.
Right. So, she goes to town with this. She goes to market with this. And she becomes the darling of social media. She becomes a wellness and healthy eating influencer just like that, right? And to make it worse, she starts to fundraise. And she says she's fundraising for several charities across the world, including everyone's favorite destination, Sub-Saharan Africa, because we all know that Africa always needs charity from everyone. And
tell us about that, Bibi.
Oh yeah. You're run of the
what
mill.
It was like growing up in Nigeria, right? Where you just all the time there's just charity coming in, and you're just hey, this is life.
It was just charity or no lunch, man. It was just it was like, your folks would just go to the nearest government office and be like,
oh my God,
has today's charity come in yet? Right? Because we have 5 children wanting to eat. Have you checked that the packages from Australia have arrived?
There were no lunch boxes, just UNAID packages.
Nah, fam, just charity, man. And the food was literally called charity too, right? It's like, how many charities have you eaten today? Right?
Oh my God.
It's just get out of here, man. So,
oh God.
So yeah, she was claiming to be fundraising, and she said she fundraised over $300,000, which is great. Except, she wasn't.
Got to charity.
Yeah, none of it went to. So imagine all those Nigerian children
were fed.
None of those children got their charity, right? They did not have charity to eat, right? So, yeah. So it's. I don't have the words to say to this lady or about this lady that do not immediately make me into a different person, because I do know words that are applicable, but I just can't bring myself to say them. Right. Go ahead.
Here's the bit that gets me in the BBC article.
Right.
This one hits hard. In 2013, and I'm quoting from the BBC article, in 2013, Kylie was 6 months into her intensive and grueling chemotherapy treatment for a recently diagnosed lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
When someone first asked her the question, have you heard about this girl, Belle Gibson?
Mm-hmm.
A quick internet search led her to the perfectly curated Instagram profile of an Australian wellness blogger with more than 300,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
Each post was flooded with adoring comments from followers around the world.
Right.
Kylie, who is also from Australia, was in awe of what she found. Right. Belle was beautiful. She was successful. Right. She was inspiring to so many people. She was the ultimate goal. And on top of that, Belle's story told about how she had only 4 months to live, but somehow she had cured her inoperable brain cancer through just healthy eating. Right. And Kylie, who couldn't help but make a comparison while she was undergoing this grueling daily chemo, losing all her hair, and about to have her 18th lumbar puncture, which, by the way, is a procedure where they put a needle through your lower spine.
I saw that. Yeah.
And she saw this, irresistible picture of someone who was like, hey, if you just eat right, it can all go away. No need for chemo. None of this horrible stuff. And Kylie stops her treatment.
She did stop her treatment. This does have a sort of happier ending, though, because after the scandal broke, she did go back to her treatment.
Now she's in remission. She's back in remission. Thank God. But how many did not go back in remission?
Exactly.
How many didn't survive?
Exactly. So just to round off the charitable thingy, she fundraised over $300,000. She donated only 7 of that, and a big part of that was after the scandal broke. So she hastily started to donate like 1,000 here, 1,000 there.
Remember, they were like, $90,000 has been spent on cosmetics.
Right. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's
how much do you spend on your cosmetics?
I mean, I do like maybe a good $20,000 a month for, eyeliner, another 15 for fillers. I do. Yeah. I mean, how
much do those, the Botox cost you?
Yeah. I
don't see a single wrinkle.
Those are pricey, man. They could cost you like at least 1 Tesla per month.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to get my lip injections done.
Yeah. Okay. No, it would suit you. I mean, you couldn't possibly look any worse than you already do. I mean, go for it, man.
Just so everyone knows, this could have actually been a YouTube podcast, but after Bibi saw me, he decided that would not be viable.
No.
We're not.
It's like,
we're definitely not doing that.
You have a face for radio. Nah, I'm messing around. Sibel is a good-looking man, and he does not let us forget it because he's always waving his luxurious hair around and tying it up in the podcast and just holding it up and doing a ponytail and scrunching it up.
Yeah, just right here.
Yeah,
just right here.
Yeah. Right. I hate you for that, man.
It's called hair brain scheme. Someone's got to do it. Hair brain schemes.
Right. I hear you.
It's in the name.
I hear you. So yeah, man, this lady she's not great. And we can tell you a lot more about, all the other things.
The one thing that is worth mentioning, that girl, the little girl she befriends.
Yeah, I did mention that, right? I mentioned that before we went on the break that she did not have any cancer. She did not have brain cancer. And she knew that she would have to give details of what having brain cancer was like. So she went and befriended a little girl who was going through brain cancer and brain cancer treatment so that she could take notes and so she could tell that girl's story as her own, right? It's just, I mean, there's no, there's some people you go like, they were a little misguided. This is not being this is deliberate intent to be evil, right? And not only that, she goes and she fundraises in the name of this little girl, and she never gets any of that money to the girl. Never, not a single solitary cent. So, there's just so much to be upset about, but I think Sibel and I chose to do this topic today because we know that there's so many people out there going through something, and that are, and these things they're going through make them particularly susceptible to, these types of things. Please, do your research, but beyond doing your research, think about the qualifications of these people that are putting themselves on this pedestal to influence on your health. And beyond that, even because there have been disturbing stories recently of fully qualified medical practitioners who would turn their backs on what they know to be right just to make a quick buck. So they would, go out and advocate for, maybe their own brand of alternative medicine that they've started.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they used to be medical practitioners gives them credence, right? It's like, oh, if a doctor is saying this, then,
that trust.
this is a big secret that the whole medical community is hiding from us. And I know it's tough, and I know it's terrible, especially for the cancer patients who, I mean, even the loved ones of people with cancer, right? Watching your loved one slowly but surely just fade away. It is brutal, but please do not fall prey to, I mean, it's the only reason we're talking about this, because this is not fit into the mold of, the other funnier and more hilarious stories that we cover. This is pure evil. The harebrained scheme behind it was she wanted to get rich, and she wanted to get rich quick. And so she was willing to do and say whatever. And she succeeded for a long time. Right.
And that's what wellness culture does. It abuses the human need for health.
Right.
And the difficulty of understanding what the complexity of human health.
Right.
And this is very personal for us. I have gone through cancer treatment. I've lost my aunt to cancer. Bibi lost his mother.
Right.
And what Bibi is saying is true. I think above all, trust your doctors. And when I say trust your doctors, trust doctors who work inside a trusted medical system.
Right.
Don't trust a single person on an online interface.
Right.
When we say, yes, there are doctors who are fully credentialed, who are saying things that are against the system. This is why we talk about things like expert consensus, because luckily we live in a world where there's so many experts that there is a democratic consensus amongst experts.
Right.
So look at what expert consensus is. Trust your doctors. Get second opinions. Use the knowledge you have access to, and understand and be aware that when there is pain and there is suffering, which is predators, a part of this, they're predators. There will be desperation.
They're predators.
Your experience, and there will be people, and there will be predators, and there will be things that are going to happen, and it's okay to just be aware of that, and to remind yourself that the right way to do it is to just say that, hey, I kind of just need to be patient and just do it, because I can tell you that you're going to be given so many options that if you're just scrambling for every option, you're not going to really give yourself time to actually look at what's going by. So
Nope.
Take time to do what treatments your doctors tell you to. Spend the rest of your time with your loved ones, and that's the way to go about it.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Abel. Honestly, I do have one more thing to say about this in general, but let's go on that break. We'll come back. I'll say it. We'll wrap up, and then we'll let you go do other things that are not so depressing. So let's go, and then we'll be back. Don't go nowhere. Okay, so we're back, and like I said before we went on that break, just one more thing on this is when we say listen to doctors, right? There's a layer below that as well. Make sure the doctor you're listening to is a doctor in the field in which they are speaking. Doctor is now such a blanket term that you could be taking cancer advice from a dentist or a dermatologist. And because they have doctor in front of their name, you are taking this advice as credentialed advice. Please check it out. What school did this doctor go to? What do they specialize in? If it is not the particular field in which they're speaking, they have no business doing that, regardless of the fact that they all went to the same number of years of, undergrad med school. They did not specialize in this field. They are not an expert in this field. I say this because we saw a lot of that during the COVID, the height of the COVID surges too. There's a lot of doctors, and I'm doing air quotes, but you can't see them. A lot of doctors came out the woodwork to say, oh yeah, vaccines are not good and then you dug a little deeper and you saw that, oh, Dr. Brian is a chiropractor.
Right.
100%.
100%. You see this all the time. And also, here's another thing you see. And this happens, I'd say, a lot, at least what I've seen in the States, which is that basically you'll see doctors come on TV where they are not liable for what they're saying, which means that what they're saying is not held up to the same scrutiny as what they'd say to a patient in a medical setting. Dr. Oz, for example.
Oh my goodness. He's
completely licensed. He still holds his license. He still practices, but that's because what he says to his patients and what he does
not
inside
count.
the medical setting is he does within the bounds of what is legally acceptable. But what he does on his shows is not,
and what he puts in his books and his right. I think Dr. Oz is also begging for an episode of Harebrained Schemes. I hope he is properly trounced in this election thing that he's going for. Then we can do. Oh, you did not know Dr. Oz is trying to become a U.S. senator.
Oh, dear God.
All right. So go read up about that. But yes, I hope he gets completely and utterly trounced so that we can have a great time doing a podcast episode on the Dr. Mehmet Oz. Just another human being that I'm like, better, and you push this nonsense just for some
phenomenally
green.
Better. He apparently is a fantastic.
He is a smart man.
He's a very smart man.
He's a smart man. Huge IQ, and that's what makes all of this unforgivable.
Intentionally evil.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for sticking it out on this rather gloomy episode. But I do hope you learned something, and I if you know someone who's on the verge of falling prey to one of these, just please let them have a listen. Or if they don't have the time, 30 minutes, you tell them yourself, right, that they should be careful, because it's just the most predatory thing ever, that people would look at people in pain and desperate for some sort of help, and they would take full and complete advantage of that. It's unforgivable in my book. It's just, I don't have the words, but yeah, we have been Harebrained Schemes. Hopefully we get back to lighter things next week, but you can find us.
Yeah, this was our public service announcement.
This was our public service announcement episode. Yes, that's right. And a big shout out to my wife for sending me, she actually brought this to my attention. So she sent me,
wife.
Yes. Thank you, sweetie. She sent me the, when you said thank you, Bibi's wife, I just remember you saying that you've never actually, seen her on camera or anything. So in the back of my head, in the back of my head, I was like, Sibel is probably going, where is she?
It's totally real. Bibi really has a wife.
I completely, totally have a wife. Anyway, we will be back next week. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. And please just try to verify, right? Verify every single bit of information that you intend to act upon, whether it's medical or not, right? This is how we get into trouble all the time. Right. If you're getting information that you're supposed to act on, verify it. Right. That's it. That's Sibel. Anything else?
Wear your masks.
Wear your masks.
Stop wearing your masks. Please.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye now.